Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to week 49 of Alone Together Pittsburgh. I am your host, Patrick Jordan. We are streaming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining us, welcoming us into your homes and mobile devices. As I already said, we've been at this since last March. We're rolling in on a year here. Week 49, we started this right when the shelter-in-place order came down from the state. We wanted to keep a sense of community going with everybody in the Pittsburgh area, and we've just been plugging away ever since. I think over 450 guests, and what episode is this? 148? Hey! This is episode 148. We're coming up on a round number. This is snacks. We're going to see the snacks in the flesh tomorrow. But that is it. So we just want to say thank you for joining us. We have a fantastic show for you tonight. Doug Oster's going to be here. We're going to talk about all things gardening, getting ready for the season, and you're going to find out what Doug's seed shacks are all about, and that's coming to you from our farm to table, buy fresh, buy local segment. Every Wednesday night, you can set your watch to it, set your clock to it, set your iPhone, your Apple Watch, whatever you got. It doesn't have to be it can be an Android. It doesn't have to be an Apple product. But we always have a farm to table segment here on Wednesday, and Doug is here for that. Can't wait to talk to him. Then later in the show, we've got a special sweet treat for you. The boys from Alone Together Pittsburgh are going to be talking about Paczki. Paczki? Pete, am I saying it right? Paczki. Paczki?
I don't.
You should know. You're the expert. You know about this. Okay, so Paczki, the delicacy. Is it just a donut? I think it might be more. We're going to find out, and we're also going to do a little taste test with several flavors of Paczki. I know it was burning up the airwaves yesterday, but we didn't have a show yesterday, so we're doing Paczki today. But before we get to that, a couple of things that we wouldn't be doing the show if we weren't in a pandemic, and we're still trending in the right direction in Allegheny County. We're down to 215 cases today. That's still too many in my opinion, but we are on our way downward back to, I'd like to get it below 100, and then I'd like to get it below 50, and then I'd like to get it back to 0. But yeah, so if there's one thing that we can tell you on this show, please keep wearing your masks, keep washing your hands, keep social distancing. Wear 2 masks if you can. Don't be a JAG. Just put on a mask. It's not a big deal. Put them on. Bruce Springsteen would agree with me.
Put on a fucking mask.
That's Bruce. He's the only one allowed to swear on this show. I do not say the F word, but Bruce, it gets the point across. We're still here. Keep washing those hands and keep social distancing. That aside, we have a couple other things. You're going to see something ticking below me on the screen here. It will be our Venmo, right? It's going to be coming up here shortly. It is @TogetherPGH. There it is right there. If you want to support the show and the artists involved with the show on any night, if you kick in a couple of bucks, it will go a long way for us. It is @TogetherPGH, or you can, same thing on PayPal and Venmo. Also, just to let you guys know, we have an audio-only podcast version of the show that you can listen to starting tomorrow, but we're also now on Twitch. So if Facebook shuts us down or flags us or mutes us or whatever, you can swip over to Twitch, and we're Together PGH at Twitch as well. And you can always catch us on YouTube as well. So all of that out of the way, it's time for something fun. We have a little in-show poll here running. We call it the Engine House 25 Winery Little Jag Off Poll. Before we get into the poll, I'll tell you a little bit about Engine House 25 Winery. If you go to eh25.com, you can find out everything you need to know about this fantastic winery. And if you tell them that Alone Together Pittsburgh sent you, you get $5 off per bottle. Any bottle they've got, $5 off. They're doing curbside. They're also doing delivery during the pandemic in the 412 area code. Just go to the website. The swag, the t-shirts and everything they have are fantastic, but the wine is where it's at. Each wine is like a work of art. They got 8 or 9 different reds. They've got blends. They've got regular. They've got Chardonnays. They've got Sauvignon Blanc. They've got it all. So hit them up, eh25.com. Tell them we sent you, get $5 off per bottle. Now, what they sponsored was a poll. Dave, it's Wednesday. It's a big Wednesday. You want to tell them what it is? What do we end up doing?
Why am I on the screen?
What do we end up doing?
Job.
What was the poll?
I think you're the Dr. P. I don't want to step on the feet. I think the master Paczki. I don't know how to say it. Pete, you got to take this one.
You're much better at this than I am. I'm like, I don't have that voice, that like,
Dave,
ladies and gentlemen.
You sounded just like
voice
him.
Of God.
Pete, what's the poll? Just tell me what the
All
poll
right,
is.
I guess I got this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where have you been all weekend? Hopefully making whoopee. That's right. It was the Valentine's Day weekend, and you know what that means. Lots of smooching and schmotching. Giving sweets to each other, feeding each other sweets, doing weird stuff with sweets. Don't forget to password protect your phone after this weekend because there's so many sweets flopping around. You're never going to live this one down, but we're talking about sweets in our poll happening right now. Bringing it up, your favorite, I don't know, nobody knows how to say this stuff. Paczki, Puchki, Pazatsko. You got to pick your favorite Paczki flavor. Chocolate, vanilla, rose hip, raspberry. People that are turds of human beings try to label them and put them in the corners as jelly donuts. They are not jelly donuts. They are Puchkaskis. We're going to learn all about them tonight. So pick your favorite flavor. Are you a chocolate man? Are you a vanilla man? A rose hip man? Or a raspberry?
I'm gonna be real. Get your votes on, everybody. I'm gonna be real. We were gonna go with like a Lent thing, but we're doing Paczki, Punchki, Puchki all day. Right? I'm gonna butcher that word. I'm gonna say it all 3 ways wrong every time.
Good thing we got an expert. That's all I'm saying.
Good thing we have an expert coming on here who knows about this stuff. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna be interesting. Dave, did you have a nice weekend?
I had a very nice weekend. How about you, Patrick?
I did. I mean, all the weekends are kind of bleeding into one. When you were talking about Valentine's Day, and we had like Valentine's Day fun stuff here, and but I had forgot it was over the weekend. Like I literally, like time is a flat circle. No, I remembered it on Valentine's Day. I'm saying that like right now, today, Wednesday, the 17th, I had forgotten that it was only like 3 days ago. You know,
I know, because we're in this vortex of wormholes.
I don't understand it.
There's a series of tubes. We're sliding through them like a water slide in a park while you're drinking too much alcohol. Something's strange. Something's wrong, but yet it feels so right.
Well, you know what's going to feel right, I hope, when we dig into these bags of punch keys and do our punch key tasting. We get some punch out of those Paczkis.
Watch it, Patrick. It's a family show.
I don't know what the I knew how to say it earlier, and now I'm like totally overthinking it. You know, like if you say a word so many times, it like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you say it and it starts to sound weird, like, you know,
Yeah,
is that how you
like,
say umbrella? You know,
like,
you
is
keep
this
saying
umbrella?
it.
What does that mean? Yeah, I'm in that place right now. But that said, I'd like to be in a better place, and someone who can take me there would probably be our first guest. So I'm really excited to have him on here, and just even chit-chatting a little bit before the show. This guy is a wealth of information, and I could talk to him, talk about a wormhole. We could talk all night. But before we do that, we just want to just tell him his name's Doug Oster. He's going to be here with us tonight, and he's got something good going on here called Doug's Seed Shacks. But Doug also offers classes through Farm to Table. He's been a fixture of the organic gardening movement through journalism and through his own personal interest in growing anything in any container possible. He promotes year-long growing, and you can catch Doug hosting the Organic Gardening Radio Show every Sunday morning, 7 a.m. on KDKA. He's here with us tonight to tell us a little bit about Doug's Seed Shack and more. Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Doug Oster.
Thanks for having me. I think the garden guy would want the rose hip punch key. That would be the flavor for the garden guy. That sounds intriguing to me. I have eaten rose hips before, but I never knew that they could be in a punch key. That's really cool. I've got to track that down.
Hey, Pete, do we have that in our taste selections here for tonight?
We do, yes.
Doug, I wish we had known and we could have got you one of these. I'm sorry we could have had one right delivered to your door.
I'm going to find one because that sounds really interesting.
They also have rosehip jelly at the Polish Deli in the Strip District. That's where my wife, she's the manager there. So, yeah, we have all the Polish flavors.
S&D Polish Deli in the Strip District.
I'll be there tomorrow.
All right. Nice. So anyway, Doug, man, before we get into this, I mean, I gave you a little bit of an intro, but I mean, you're a man of many talents. You're multimedia. You're all over the place.
You know, I'm lucky. I love what I do. You know, I've worked for the Post-Gazette, the Tribune Review, and now I'm on my own. But telling the stories, that's what I love. When I write about gardening, there's a lot of how-to in it, but it's more about the people and how they have found their way to this, whatever it is. If it's an obsession about roses or an obsession about growing different types of arugula, it's just fun to tell their stories. And even if I wasn't getting paid for it, I would be writing these stories because I've been lucky that I just love people. And in the gardening world, like, you know, you always hear like social media, how brutal it is. Mm-hmm. In the gardening world, it's not. It's just this beautiful back and forth thing, you know, where I always say gardeners are not like fishermen. Gardeners will share their secrets. And we do a lot of that, and it's fun. And social media for me as a garden guy, I just love it. You know, when I posted a preview today about me coming on here at 8 o'clock, I probably have 40 comments there from people saying, Doug's free seed shacks, man, this sounds cool. You know, I want to help. Can I help? Can you bring one out to Millvale? Can you bring one here? I've got some seeds. Can I donate them? That's just how gardeners are.
Well, I mean, I was going to go into a deeper origin story with you, but since we got the segue to the seed shacks, tell us a little bit about those.
So I read a story a few months ago in, I think it's Des Moines, Iowa, or someplace like that, Decorah, Iowa, where somebody was putting a seed library out. And I thought, well, I'd love to do that, but how am I going to build a seed library? And I just started thinking, like, what could I use? And I knew that those old newspaper sales boxes that we used to throw a couple quarters in to get a paper out of, you know, there's got to be plenty of those around. And I said, that would be the perfect place to put free seeds. And so it's waterproof, it's tough, it's heavy, you know, you could hit it with a car and the thing would be fine. And so I was able to buy 6 of them, and I'm going to paint them, and I'm going to put stencils on them, and I'm going to fill them up with seeds, and I'm going to to put them around the city. You know, certainly 3 or 4 will be in the areas where they need seeds worse than anything.
Okay, so all right, so what are these boxes from? What were these boxes originally?
Originally, they just held newspapers.
Which one? Which newspaper?
Yeah, newspapers. It's the newspaper that laid me off a year ago.
Oh Christ! But anyway, but now you
can see which one it is. Here's the deal.
Right.
When they were bought, one of the deal was you got to take our name off it.
Okay, gotcha. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I didn't want to dig. I didn't want to dig too deep. It was just whatever. So, but you did pay for those boxes, though.
How much?
You did pay for those boxes.
$15 a piece.
Oh my goodness! All right. Well, there you go. I love it. All right. So you were they're the perfect vestment. So what neighborhoods do you think they're going to go to, and what kind of seeds?
Well, I'm going to have lots of vegetables, lots of flowers too, lots of pollinator plants, which is an important part of gardening. But you know, I'm thinking I I haven't talked to these places yet, but I'm sure they'll take them. But I know a place in Wilkinsburg, a place in Braddock, a place in Homewood. I want to throw one up in Butler. And then I've got a couple more, and I'm going to have one that I'm just going to rotate around. They're all going to have their own social media.
Oh, nice.
And so it'll be like my rotating box will have the stuff that people send me, the weird stuff, you know, like an Italian or a Polish tomato that their grandfather has grown for, 50 years. They'll have all these seeds. We'll put little packets in there. And I'll say, hey, if you want to grow this cool tomato, go to wherever I'm going to put these places. I'll put them, Pittsburgh Botanic Garden. I'll put one out there. I want these boxes to also draw people to these places they might not know about, or they might not have visited in a long time. If Phipps would take one, I can't tell you how many times I hear from people, I went to Phipps as a kid. And I'm like, yeah, well, go back because it's amazing. Pittsburgh Botanic Garden. A lot of people don't know about it. Out by Settler's Cabin, a really cool garden that is expanding like crazy. So you put one out there, it helps them, and it's a fun thing for gardeners to do. And I think this is going to become even a bigger project. Even though we're just starting out, I've had so much positive response from it, from talking about it. And like I said, people trying to send me seeds, donate. We have to figure that all out. But I'll just tell you this. I'm going to put them out there, and I'm going to have them filled with seeds. And those seeds are going to be free for anybody who wants them, and there's going to be a lot of honor system there. But that's cool. You can do the honor system in gardening. I've told people this as long as I've worked in the business. I had this project where I still have it, where this guy had this great big tomato, and it was the best one I ever tasted. And I send the seeds out to people. They grow it out and send me seeds back. But when I first set this up with the newspaper, I had to talk to all these bosses, and they said, you can do it, but you're never going to get any seeds back because people just want things for free. And I said, no, you don't understand what gardeners are like. They
community.
said, well, see, first year I got 140,000 seeds back, starting with 350.
Unbelievable. That's amazing. I mean, it just goes to show you about, it is. It's a different thing. Every other place is just so cutthroat right now. And seeds they're kind of tough to get right now. I think there's been a couple of things that have happened during the pandemic. Sourdough breads and gardening has taken a boom here. People started getting after it.
There's no doubt about it. Last year, I've got lots of friends in the big seed companies, and I couldn't even get a phone call. It was a quick email back saying, I've never seen anything like that, like this. This year, it's even worse, where one of the big companies had to shut down in January. Wow. 2 separate times. These are people that know how to take seed orders and get them out. They're working 24/7 to get the seed orders processed and get them out to people. And so one of the ironies of coming up with this idea, Doug's Free Seed Shacks, normally that would be the easiest thing for me to get. I would just send a couple emails to people I know in the seed business. They would send me hundreds of last year's seeds, but there are not that many available. And so I'm trying to figure that part out. I probably got, 6,000-7,000 packs of seeds, but I think I'm going to need 3 times that to accomplish what I want to accomplish, because I want these seeds not only to be there for Mother's Day planting. I want them to be available all year round and with information. There's going to be a nice little thing in there and then information on the outside of the box where I'm asking people, if you don't know anything about gardening, send me a question and I'll walk you through it. That's part of my job.
That's amazing. That's great. And how are the seeds going to be broken down in the seed shacks?
It'll probably be by the when to put them in the ground. That's the way I think is the best way to do it. People aren't going to know that you need to start peas, early in April, and you do beans in May. So I'll put like dates on there, April sowing, May sowing, June, July. What people don't know, and what I'm hoping to help teach them through this, the free seed shacks, is that many things can be sown almost all season long. And if you're really into it, you could go into this time. I mean, I've got plants out in the garden right now with a little bit of protection, a little bit of plastic on them, but sitting there waiting for things to warm up. And I've been harvesting all winter. So
see, this is what I wanted to ask you. I mean, what can people do now? I mean, we're in the thick of winter. It's it was 5 degrees today. I mean, what can people do now that want to start growing stuff?
Well, one thing, we'll start seeds indoors pretty soon, but if you're not a seed starter and you just want a little bit of spring inside, go out and cut some spring branches. And the number one branch that we cut is called forsythia. That's those yellow flowers in the spring. All you have to do is snip those branches off, put them in a vase of water, and they're going to bloom for you in a week. Another thing is we call them microgreens, but don't let that worry you. It is a packet of seeds, radishes, beans, sunflowers, broccoli, anything like that. Throw them into a little bit of planting mix, water them, and as soon as they sprout, that's what we're eating. And so we'll either pull those or snip them off, and I'm telling you, they're highly nutritious, very sweet and tender, but they give you that, like, hey, I grew it, and it has that amazing flavor that you can't duplicate the flavor of something that's just been picked and you put it into your salad. That's one of the reasons that everyone gardens.
Right. And, you've also you're a published author. So tell me a little bit about the Steel City Garden.
So my publisher, St. Lynn's Press, they're here in Pittsburgh. They've done all my books. And he had an idea for a book, but he wouldn't tell me what it was. We met down at Kasab's on the south side. And he laid it all out. Black and gold plants, Steel City Garden. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just tell me this? He goes, because I didn't think you'd write it because you're a Browns fan. Because I grew up in Cleveland and covered the Browns actually for many, many years when I was a photojournalist.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's tougher for my kid living here,
Oh God.
He's still under the like big fan and the whole bit, but I wanted to write the book. It's basically about black and gold, the colors and how you use them and how you can easily grow those. I've had a lot of people since I put that book out. That's been my number one seller, but not only in Pittsburgh, Florida, California, Iowa. The team is black and gold, I guess.
They are the Hawkeyes.
It sells all over, but it's about combining these two colors and having fun with it.
That's awesome. I mean, that's great, and I'm disappointed. I have some hardcore Steeler fans in my neighborhood that I'm kind of disappointed that they haven't grown their gardens all black and gold yet.
Well, I've had a lot of people take the book and grow black and gold gardens, and I love that when they send me pictures showing me the black and gold stuff. That picture you have right up there, those are out in an unheated greenhouse. So it's 15 degrees out there. It's about choosing the plants that love cold weather and hot weather. And so you can't grow a tomato out there now, but you could start a few seeds like this under some plastic in one of those clamshell containers. Put some seeds in there, stick it outside. They're not going to sprout till they're ready, but they'll be there. This is part of just the fun of gardening, seeing something sprout from that little seed and go all the way to fruition in one season. It's amazing, and it's very satisfying for most people. That's why gardening, I think, has become such a big deal during the pandemic.
I can imagine, and and not to play on a pandemic word, but your excitement about this is contagious because I'm getting real excited. I'm wanting to start growing. Pete, Pete put in like 5 or 6 raised beds in his backyard. That was his pandemic chore early on there. But Pete, do you have any questions for Doug here?
Well, I mean, we could probably talk forever. My wife's really the one who manages the garden. I just do the kind of like labor. She really kind of maintains the space. We built a bunch of raised beds and kind of went crazy with the tomatoes last year.
Right off the bat, raised beds are the way to go, especially for a new garden. And when I see somebody has a new garden, I try and tell them just build up. Just go buy a truckload of compost, dump it into whatever you want it to be in, and you've got an instant garden. The way I did it, I was digging compost in every year. I did this on my mother's garden, actually. It was the worst soil you ever saw, but she wanted a garden. It took me 3 years of digging in the compost into that soil to get this great vegetable garden. And that year she said, I think I'm going to go with containers. And I'm like, oh. So whoever lives in that house now, they have the most incredible patch of grass you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, God.
Why do I have to cut this block of grass twice a week instead of once?
Well, that's why one of the reasons why I built the raised bed was to get rid of the grass, because I was tired of cutting the grass. And like, we never really used the yard since we put the raised beds in. We've, used it tenfold. So,
so when you're thinking of a raised bed, I like to tell people to use those outsides of that raised bed as a place where vine crops can root, but then they can spread out outside, and then you can use more of the inside of that bed, kind of like in the center, a thriller, like maybe a row of tomatoes, then a filler, something smaller, peppers or lettuce or something like that, and then your spiller, which would be a vine crop like a cucumber or a squash or something like that. And since you have such great soil in that raised bed, probably compost, which gives the plants everything they need, you can grow a lot more plants in there. And I know the first year you're saying you had a tomato jungle, but we all have tomato jungles. It's in our gardening career, and that's fine. That's kind of one of the fun things about it. Like, you just have a big block of green, and then when you look in there, you're like, oh, there's the cherry tomato, and there's the heirloom, and we want to hook you up with this year is some heirloom tomatoes, because they're a lot of fun to grow.
My wife went a little crazy. Like, so first she planted about 40 tomato plants, but then every time we went to like Lowe's or like a garden center, which we would go to almost weekly, she would see like the dying tomatoes and be like, well, let's just keep the dying tomatoes. And as soon as she put them in the ground, we thought they were just going to die. Well, no, they didn't die. So we have like a freezer full of tomato sauce and tomatoes from this year. Like we were giving it away to people for a while. Like it was insane.
That's the other thing about gardening is that part, the giving away,
right.
Whether it's beans or tomatoes or zucchinis, whatever it is, sometimes the way you're growing, somebody's going to stop by a stop sign by your house, and if they leave the back window open, they're going to have a bag of tomatoes when they drive off.
Right. Well, it got so bad. Like the tomato vines on the one side of the house, like grew over to the neighbor's yard, and like literally, it was a cherry tomato bush, and it was like 10 feet, like in spread. It was huge. Oh, wow. Like we were just collecting like buckets of cherry tomatoes. Like we couldn't keep up with them. Like it was that. Like we went away for a week. We went camping. We came back, and they were like a lot of them had rotted because like they just kept coming and coming and coming.
If you don't mind, if I ask a question, what was it that spurred you to do this, to make this? Is it the pandemic, or was there more to it, or why?
We got the house about 3 years ago, and we had been talking about putting raised beds in, and then I built a lower deck. Like we have an upper deck that kind of looks out. We're in Etna, so we're up on the hill, and then the lower deck was kind of a mess. So I built a lower deck for us, and then from there it was like, well, my daughter was looking for something to do, and so we built 2 raised beds with her, and then taught her how to use it like a circular saw and like a carpenter square and the nail gun and the drill gun, and And then we, from there, it was like, well, maybe we could put 2 more raised beds in. And then it was like, maybe we could put 2 more raised beds in. Then the bottom of our yard like was kind of like falling apart. So I started digging it up and leveling it out. And as I was doing that, I found all these bricks. So then I built another raised bed down there. And then I bricked in front of the raised bed with all these found bricks that were just like kind of in the yard. It was, yeah.
Well, real quick, we need to make a deal. I'll give you some garden information, and you teach me how to do the circular saw, the nail gun, and all that, because I don't know which side of a hammer to hold.
All right, then. I wanted to ask, do you know anything about mushrooms? Are you a mushroom guy?
Oh yeah, well, there's a chicken of the woods right there. That's a wild one. Now let me just warn you about wild mushrooms. You can't eat a wild mushroom unless you have expertise, because they can kill you. And so I think are you talking about that kind of mushroom, or are you talking about growing them indoors?
Both, actually.
All right, so outdoors, you cannot fool around with those, man. Even that one that we just saw there, that orange one, it's unmistakable. But yeah. I still send a picture to the Western Pennsylvania Mushroom Club, and just to be sure, there's 3 or 4 very common, easy to identify mushrooms, but I've been out with those guys before on these forays, and some guy who's been in the club for like 5 years will bring a mushroom back, and the scientist will say, that's the look-alike. That's the one that's going to get you sick. All right, so for foraging, you have to know your stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to grow them on the indoors, this is fun. You could just buy something that's inoculated with the spore and just basically soak it in a little thing of water, and you won't believe how fast those mushrooms will put on. And again, it's the same thing that I was talking about the microgreens. The mushrooms will be so tasty and so wonderful, and they're so easy to do. And you might get 2 or 3 flushes out of each one of those little things that you buy that is inoculated. That's a great project too for kids to see that happen.
And you might get 5 or 6 flushes if you pick the wrong ones. Am I right? Am I right, guys? Hey,
the drum roll.
Boom, boom, ching. Anyway, Donna said that on the chat there, she said that her tomatoes were no good this year. She has no idea why.
There was because of all the heat and drought. And so we saw a lot of this one thing called blossom end rot. And that's just at the bottom of the tomato. Before it ripens, it turns black. And that's because the plant doesn't have the moisture it needs. And that moisture, when the soil is nice and moist, it can bring up this calcium, which is almost always there. But if it's too dry, you can't.
Okay, question for you, because I had that happening with my tomatoes. There was getting that black thing on the bottom of them, and it was kind of like taking it over, right? So I was cutting that part off, whatever. Okay, tell me if I put like baby formula in there. Was that a mistake? I just had a plethora of baby formula. We didn't eat anything after I did it, but I was like, oh, calcium. Boom, I'll just put a little baby formula, make it wet, and then dump it in there. Mistake. Was that a mistake?
That was a mistake.
Okay, that must be why we never ate another tomato after the.
It's all about watering, and let me speak to that real quickly, because I hear that sort of thing a lot. You figure out that blossom end rot. You figure out that it needs calcium, so people are putting Tums in. They're putting any kind of eggshells. Yes, that's adding calcium, but it's not available probably for another year or 2. The calcium is usually there. It's just when it dries out, and this is especially with container tomatoes, that if that container dries out, it can't get the calcium. So when we're doing tomatoes in containers, we want big containers, at least 15 gallons. When we're doing them in the garden, we want a nice thick layer of straws of mulch. We want to keep that soil evenly moist, and then you won't ever have the blossom end rot. Sometimes tomatoes like sauce tomatoes are prone to blossom end rot, but last year that was the thing. Last year was a really tough year and for blossom end rot. Now, for us that were watering like crazy, it was the best year for tomatoes, because tomatoes want an Italian summer. They want dry and hot, man, and those are the best tomatoes. They're not too watery. They have that homegrown flavor that you can't get anywhere else.
So does that happen with cucumbers too? Because I see my tomatoes turned out fine, but my cucumbers were terrible this year.
So lots of different issues with cucumbers. Usually it's this little bug called a cucumber beetle, and it'll just nibble on the edges of the plant, not do too much damage, but it's infecting the plant with this thing called bacterial wilt. And whenever you have a vine crop and one day it looks great and the next day it's just like, what happened? And no matter how much water you put on it, it's just like, blah, that's bacterial wilt. For your cucumbers, plant 3 crops. And this is true for almost everything you grow. And I know it sounds like a pain. Like most people I want to put my garden in and done. But if you put in a May 15, May 30th, June 15 planting of your cucumbers, 2 of those 3 will usually outcompete the pest or disease or whatever the problem might be. Whatever the problem is, identify the problem somehow, some way, and then take action. We see a lot of times where I get calls on the radio show where people, they panic and they're using a fungicide for an insect problem and an insecticide for a fungal problem. Identify the problem because it's going to be easy to identify. And if you can't do it through the internet, cut a piece off, put it in a Ziploc bag, and take it to your local nursery and say, I don't know what's going on. They'll know right away because this seasonal thing, everybody's cucumbers are doing the same thing. Everybody's tomatoes are doing the same thing. So the fact that you have that good soil is going to go a long way for you to have a green thumb. It's just figuring out a little bit of this, staggering the plantings,
right?
Extending the season, deciding, when to plant what. But I always tell people there's 3 things you need to do to be a successful gardener. Improve the soil. You've done it. You've got the compost. Secondly, know when the plant or seeds go in the soil. That's easy to find out. Thirdly, don't let them dry out. And so gardening is a lifelong learning hobby. But those 3 things will go a long way to giving you that proverbial green thumb. There's no such thing as a green thumb, but you still have to keep telling people you can have a green thumb, because every day I hear somebody say, I have
kill everything. Yeah.
Well, Doug, I mean, we could talk to you all night, but we're going to have to end with that sage advice. But everyone at home, please check out Doug's website. Go there. It's pretty easy to remember. It's DougOster.com. You can also hear him KDKA Radio, 7 o'clock in the morning, Saturdays, right? Sunday. All right, great. Sundays. Right. Call in, check that out. And Doug, please come back anytime you want. If you got anything to talk about, we'd love to have you back whenever.
Thanks so much, man. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, it's great, man. We'll talk later. And I want to talk more about Marty Schottenheimer next time you're on there. All right. Take it easy, Doug. Thank you so much. Doug. All right, and everybody, be sure check out Doug's website, and also be sure to check us out every Wednesday. We have a different segment from Farm to Table, sponsored by Farm to Table Pittsburgh. Every Wednesday night, keep it real, keep it local. Go to farmtotablepa.com, and also when you're at that website, please check out anything that they have there. It's your one-stop shop, from everything from farmers markets to CSAs, how to do it yourself, and how to connect with people like Doug. So check it out. Keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it local. All right, that was a wealth of information. And Pete, we got to talk about your raised beds again. That was exciting. But I think the time has come. It's Paczki time. Let's take a little check-in how the voting's going for people. Hopefully they know what these things are now that we're doing for the polls. All right. 43% chocolate, 43% raspberry. Rose hip has a 0, but we might change that tonight because we've got a little taster here. So Pete, talk to me. What is the correct pronunciation?
It's Paczki.
Paczki, punch key.
Yeah, Paczki, but I think it's like if you're Pittsburghese, it's like Paczki.
Paczki. I tell you what, so let me tell you something before we dig into this. This bag, I don't know if you can see it, but you see how there's that kind of soak through of the bag. Look at that. That's how you know it's good. That's how I'm excited about this. So Paczki. So Pete, look, this is how the contraband was left for us today. Paczki Pete was driving around the neighborhood and dropped us off some Paczki for us quarantiners. That's Dave's store. So there it is. All right,
see the grease coming
so
through the
so
bag.
so Pete, give me a little history here. What's the love of these Paczkis?
The history? I mean, they're just like Fat Tuesday, Fat Thursday donuts.
And why? Why Fat Tuesday? Why?
Well, in Poland and like in Europe, I think it's Fat Thursday, and it's like to kick off like the carnival weekend, you know, pre-Lenten.
Because Lent's going to start and you're not going to eat the sweets. Am I right?
Right. It was a way to kind of get rid of sugar and flour or sugar eggs and or sugar flour and lard. I was told that Agnieszka told me they used to make them as savory donuts up until like the 15th or 16th century. They were like bacon, like kind of like bacon donuts, like bacon dough balls, and they're kind of thicker and heavier.
Oh man!
And then around then they started doing the fruit flavors, and now you guys are going to try.
There's a lot of sugar on these.
Where's Dave at? Dave's got to get it.
There's a lot of sugar. I don't know which one I'm eating.
I ate one already, but yeah, I'm ready to do some more.
Which one should I start with?
I had the cream one, and it was great. And you know what? It was not. It was. I was worried that it was going to be super sweet. It is not.
Try
super
that one.
Sweet.
That one is that's the rose hip.
Oh, we're going to open with the rose hip.
So the rose hip, I think it's more the traditional Polish style. Yeah, you're going to end up with sugar all over you.
I need a plate. I need a plate. All right, Pete, keep talking about the history of this. I'll be right back.
Get a little bib, Patrick. If you have a little bib, put a little bib on. You're going to need one of those.
I'm going to need
Trust
a bib.
me.
I'm
going
to need a bib.
Get a bib, stick it in, like a lobster dinner.
All right, folks, this is the first time this is happening in 149 episodes or 148 episodes. I'm going to leave my post just for a minute. Pete, okay, so it was just to get rid of the flour and sugar?
Go get your goddamn bib.
Okay.
Put that bib on.
Well, Davey's gone. Let's just get him
Now
out
you got the run of the show, Pete. This is your chance.
I don't like being on the screen. I'd rather not be. So you had the vanilla one, Dave?
I did. It was amazing. That's the thing right away. I hate sweet stuff. I hate cloying stuff. Man, it was magic. The balance on it. And the texture. It's a textural experience. Where's the bib?
I couldn't find a bib. I just got a plate.
Just get one of Pepper's bibs. I'm sure you have bibs for her.
She's probably got tons of bibs.
She hasn't worn a bib in like 3 years, and she's not even 3 yet. All right,
Get in the closet, find that old bib.
The Paczki are good though. So the Paczki are generally like they're thicker than a normal donut. So you're gonna have like a bring Patrick bigger on this. You gotta see him unpacking this thing.
I'm waiting for him to do something exciting.
All right, just hold on, folks. There we go. Okay, so I have this plate here. Scooch in a little bit closer for you here. All right, so here's where it is. We're going to let this get in focus. Okay, it's a lot of sugar. Smells like a, what we call my family beetles, which is like a fried dough.
It is fried dough.
Okay, and we put some sugar on it. Usually they put the anchovies inside instead of that. So this is what it is. This doesn't look like a donut. So when they make these, is it like a dough ball that they hollow out with something and then squirt the stuff in, or how does that work?
Yeah,
Pete?
I think that's how they do it. It's basically like a donut, but it's just thicker. They use like a thicker dough.
And this is the rose hip.
Yeah,
you know, it's good for my hips here.
Take a bite. Not everyone's a big fan of the floral flavor, but I feel like it's not that overpowering in the rose hip. But you get a little bit of that kind of rosy flavor.
There is a rosy flavor. There is a floral finish to this. You can taste it right away from the first jump.
It's not
bad when you
though.
Get past like the grains of sugar that just instantly cover your teeth. But
right.
No, it's pretty good. I wasn't expecting it to be like that. It's got like a perfumey kind of floral.
But not like that kind of like cheap perfumey, like where it like just shits up the whole area. Where
you're not like walking through
right.
Ross Park. You're going through Kaufman's and somebody hits you up with like 15 sprays. Now this is more like a subtle, like a early morning. You spray it and you'll kind of walk through it.
Right.
Yeah, not like right in your face, not like right on you.
So like I was saying in Poland, I'm
Well,
told
second
it's
bite was
fat.
better than the first too. It's good.
Right. Yeah, they're addicting. I ate all 3 earlier.
Oh my god, you guys were supposed to do a goddamn taste test, and you sons of bitches.
I had to drive around with them and drop them off at your house. How was I supposed to not eat all 3 on the drive?
Yeah, it was tough not to eat these, but I didn't want to give Pepper all the sugar because she already had a bunch earlier. Because I can't eat anything without her eating it. And I'm going to take one more bite of this. I'm going to move on to the next one, right?
Yeah. So Agnieszka would say in Poland, like her parents will go from bakery to bakery to bakery, and they'll just spend the whole day on Fat Thursday going to different bakeries getting paczki, and they'll eat like 10 a day.
Which is why that must be why they call it Fat Tuesday,
Right?
Because everyone's going to get real fat. After
But
this,
it's
I thought it was
Thursday
about,
there. It's Thursday.
because they start on Tuesday. They keep eating until Thursday, Pete.
No, they start on Thursday before they eat through the weekend. It's carnival.
Oh my god, it's a lot of eating. I thought it was more like a drinking thing. All right, what should I do next?
What is this? What was that?
I slept.
What should I do next? The vanilla or
yeah.
is that chocolate, vanilla, and rose hip?
No, you have prune. Try the prune one next.
Okay, we're gonna go with the prune.
Because
Let
then
me
you'll mix like the floral flavor with the kind of prune flavor, which I think is also very good. I'm not a big fan of prunes in general, but
That's why you're not a regular guy. This was how excited I was when Pete said that he was going to drop off Paczki today. It was very exciting. All right, so we got a little look here. Another Paczki number 2. Let me shake some of that off because that's going to make me feel better. Dave, how you feeling on this? Are you going to have one with me here or no?
Yes, absolutely. I just don't want to get powdered sugar all over the keyboard. You know what I mean?
Good thinking. Oh, that is a prune. That's very pruny.
you
This
kind
will
of
make you poop.
With all that white in your beard, Patrick, you kind of can't even see the sugar all over your face.
I tell you right now, buddy, I dyed my beard, man. This is all sugar. I'm telling you right now, I have a jet black beard. There isn't a gray hair on it.
There is so much sugar on those, though. It's
These are super. What did now I know they sell these at S&D Polish Jelly, but where did they what bakery did they originate?
She gets them from the Party Cake Bakery in Brookline.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Nice
like
people there.
Yeah, Scott Smith, I think is his name. Not to be confused with Scott Smith from East End Brewing, but yeah, super nice guy.
Okay.
They order dozens and dozens, like 70 dozen or something. I don't know what they ordered.
Okay. It's good. I like it. I'm gonna put the rose hip, above the prune one.
Right? The rose hip's good. See, the prune's also like a more traditional Polish flavor.
That's what I mean.
As well.
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But it definitely tastes like a prune thing. Let's go in there. Dave, have you had which one did you eat earlier today, Dave?
I had the cream, the sweet cream. Was it a sweet cream or a vanilla cream?
Vanilla buttercream, yeah.
Melissa thinks I'm going to poop, and take a look at the inside of this thing here.
Looks like the inside of Patrick's guts.
You guys are gonna poop just from watching the show tonight. I'm sorry this thing turned like it was such a beautiful show. We had, Doug was talking about everything gardening. He's passion
we went from
for it was
organic to straight up like
straight up like the
deep fried fat.
total opposite. Like you said lard twice. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna move on to the
that was
third.
in ancient times, that
The prune was good. No, the prune's good.
No, the lard. The lard was like more of an ancient time thing before they made it sweet, like a dessert thing.
Oh, and in
Whereas like
olden times.
pierogi started as like a dessert thing with cherry and like the fruit flavors, and then came to the. I'm not an expert by any means. I just know from what I hear from,
Well, it's in the house. Okay, this is, it does have some weight to it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, give it an hour, and then you're gonna be like, I shouldn't have had them.
No, I'm only eating like less than halves here, as you can see, as we break this down. They made a talk about Paczki on every other show in the area, but no one went this far. We're diving deep. We're deep diving.
Deep, three deep.
Speaking of which, while I get ready to eat this one, lard is great for frying, Donna. We're starting something special tomorrow on the show. Tomorrow's going to be a food-oriented show. Obviously, Thursday, we've got Chef Kate Romaine's going to be here. But we're trying something else, a new segment maybe. And it's going to be launched by the one and only Hal B. Klein. Now was not the time for that, Dave. Now was not the time for that.
I think that was exactly the right time for that.
That was not the time. I mean, I'm being very, very serious. This is a serious show, and I'm about to go in for what is this? What is this,
It's the
Pete?
vanilla buttercream.
Vanilla buttercream. Okay.
Yeah.
Butter. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Those are
really
probably-
good. Yeah.
I would think that's probably the most popular, but I like I never liked like jelly donuts. I never got into like the fruit flavors, but I actually kind of like the fruit flavored Paczki.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to save this one for tomorrow for the kid. She's gonna go crazy for this one. So I'm just gonna take one more bite, obviously.
Yeah, just one or two or three.
Oh my god! All right. Well, folks, that was Paczki. What was your favorite, Pete? The buttercream?
They have a peanut butter one that I like. I'm always partial to peanut butter sweets, but I had the apricot one yesterday. I had 3 yesterday and 3 today.
Oh my god, buddy!
Are they all traditional, or are they all like peanut butter standard fare?
I don't think
Rose
peanut
hips?
butter is the standard fare. I think it was just kind of a new flavor. So there's like lemon, apricot, rose hip, raspberry, chocolate, vanilla, lemon. That might be all the flavors they have. But the lemon one's pretty good. They have custard. Custard's another big flavor too.
Cause I could see that and I've seen some with chocolate on top,
I've never seen that.
like a chocolate spread on top, and then a punch.
Yeah.
This is
It's like
water.
my weakness right now, are the Paczkis, the donuts, because I stopped drinking and I don't eat meat or cheese anymore. So it's like,
Lard. Give me the lard. Give me white granulated sugar and lard. I'm not drinking. I'm not eating meat. I'm totally all organic. And then my crutch is a friggin' spoonful of Crisco
right.
in every bite. Is it Crisco? What is lard? Is Crisco lard?
Crisco's not lard. I don't think Crisco's lard. Dave, can you Google that?
That stuff's like lead. Well, hey, it's been a
I
great
feel
show.
like Crisco's rip-off lard.
Right. It's probably
Crisco's lard patented and sold by Monsanto, I think.
Oh man,
No disrespect.
no
Why?
disrespect, but that
fuck Monsanto.
But
Just kidding. JK.
Patrick, you look like you're starting to sweat a little bit. What's going on over there?
I'm getting the Paczki sweats. I'm getting a little glare here. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I've got I don't do a lot of sweets in my life, and I don't do caffeine. I don't do a lot of sugar. So what you're gonna see here is me talking real fast in about 5 or 6 seconds. Lard is pig fat.
Yep.
Delicious. So they got pig fat over there, and was it Butler? Party cake.
No, it's in Brookline.
Brookline.
No, I don't think they use lard. I'm not sure what they fry it in. I mean, it's just probably whatever they fry the donuts in. My guess is probably a vegetable oil, but I don't know.
It's a fine donut. It's a good taste. That is not like your standard. You're not going to get something that tastes like that at Dunkin'.
No, not like that. Not that that's like a thick, good, like bready kind of dough. Which Dunkin' Donuts, like they make some decent donuts. I'm not going to dismiss them, but
Oh, so I love it.
the Paczki though, the Paczki have to be kind of denser, like heavy. They're like it's like eating a soggy baseball or something. Like
I'm so confused, Maureen, with that statement.
what Crisco came the
No,
69ers version, the 69's version of healthy lard. Okay.
Okay, all right, okay. There's a correction there. Okay, I was like a whole. I was like that's just it's a whole different thing with lard. But
Crisco's
hey,
partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil. There you go.
okay. Well, that's exciting. Well, I tell you what, I'm excited. I'm excited about the show. It was a great show tonight. We got a great one tomorrow. Then we got another fantastic one on Friday. Natalie Bensavenga is going to be back with 5 Minutes with Dave Bracey's going to be back. Maybe we're going to have a musical guest for you. We're working on something. That's going to be coming up. We got a little bit of the origins of this. I mean, how many different things are there, like off the top of your head right now? Is this like the big, like the traditional, like is the Paczki Day, like it's a big Polish thing?
Oh yeah, it's like because Poland's a very religious country. So, I think it's still technically like run by the church in many ways. It's fucked up in a way, in many ways.
Well,
But
if you get that, remember S&D Polish Deli in the Strip District is your one-stop shop for everything you need. They'll take care of you there.
it's true. They'll have them probably for the next week or so. Man, maybe this might be the last week of them. I'm not sure.
Well, so get down there. You can get them direct. Go ahead.
I know Apteka is going to have them too. They make Paczki as well.
Vegan?
Yeah, vegan Paczkis. Yeah, they'll be there this weekend. They just posted on Instagram a little bit ago. They also have really good wines. I haven't been drinking, but we got a bottle of wine from Apteka a couple weeks ago, and I had a glass of it, and it was delicious.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I think now's the time. I'm about to start, like, hey, everybody, what do you want to talk about? Anybody come in? I'm just going to talk like I'm going to be that guy. I'm the Tony Montana of
do the
sugar
whole
right
show
now.
in 60 seconds.
I totally could. I could turn into the Micro Machine Man if that's aging me. The Micro Machine Man, right?
No.
You don't remember the Micro Machine
Yeah,
Man?
I do. I've called you that before because sometimes you come out of the show and you're like, we're getting through this.
And we're done tonight. And we're done. All right, we have 45 minutes left to kill. All right, y'all talk amongst yourselves. But anyway, that's cool. But again, tomorrow, hot show. Hal B. Klein, Kate Romaine. We're gonna break down the origins of a specific kind of pizza. If you want to bone up on it, you can go to Pittsburgh Magazine's website, find Hal's last article, For the Love of Pizza, for the pizza lovers out there. He was doing some deep dives, not just a deep dish.
You gonna eat pizza tomorrow? I'm thinking about ordering a pizza now.
Okay. I can think about doing that, but I mean, we should probably get the pizza that we're actually going to be breaking down.
I don't think they have vegan cheese at this pizza place, Pete.
No. I'm gonna get a vegan pizza from somewhere that's vegan friendly.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Might as well get a burrito then, because it's like.
No, what are you talking about? Pizza could be vegan.
But why?
Because we're going very deep on a very specific type of pizza.
We're gonna let you know where it came from, the whole origin story of this specific kind of. Dave, should we tell them what it is, or should we let them be surprised?
I think maybe give some hints. See if the people watching can guess, and maybe just give some of the little characteristics.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it's iconic. If you know what it is, it's iconic. Pittsburgh. You think it's a Pittsburgh style of pizza. It's iconic. You're not gonna get it everywhere. It's not what you would expect. It's not like I'm just going to go out there and say it. It's not like your Minio's versus Aiello's rivalry kind of a thing. It's not that kind of pizza. It's pizza, but it's a
Like your
different.
Domino's versus Pizza Hut kind of rivalry.
Where do you fall in that, Pete?
I don't know. It's a good question. I haven't had either in a really long time.
I'm going to go Pizza Hut. I'm going to go Pizza Hut on that one. But maybe because I was, brainwashed and book it, because you can get a free personal pan.
Was it Book It or Book Up?
It was Book It.
Oh.
If you would read like 7 or 8 books on their list, you get a free personal pan pizza for yourself, and then your family would have to buy like 6 other pizzas for them, and that was a beautiful moneymaker. But you felt proud about getting a free personal pan pizza.
Oh, I remember those days.
I used to have the button,
Yeah, I had
you have
the button too,
with put the little stars on it. But yeah, so that's the pizza. It's a pizza where it's got where you're still getting a hot pizza, but it's not all hot. If you know what I mean.
Right.
Dave, am I going too deep on that? Did I give too much away?
The Book It pizza?
Not the Book It pizza. Okay, I went a little far. But if we go Book It, I mean, Pizza Hut has that, that buttery crust. There's the stuffed crust. I used to live across the street from like the last Pizza Hut in the city, which is now like I think a paint store or something, right there at East Liberty, right by the right by Whole
Sherwin
Foods
Williams
there.
now.
Yeah, it's Sherman Williams there, right? So you used to live. You could see it from my window, right? So I would have like meetings there. Like Bare Bones was born. With me having meetings at
Like
at
a pitcher of beer and
like literally a picture of like Coors Light and like the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet.
Yeah.
They knew us
still
by
have
name.
that?
They knew us by name. It was kind of like, hey, you can get those dessert pizzas out there for us, and then they would bring out the dessert pizzas, and that's basically what it was. It was like the whole meeting would be like $15.
I remember cutting class and I think it was a senior in high school and going to go to Pizza Hut buffet. that was like a thing. Did you do that
It
too?
was a big deal. I didn't really cut class, but I
would only do it for the pizza.
Everybody else, for whatever reason, I would only do it for the pizza. But anyway, so that's it. So tomorrow is the night we do a deep dive on a specialty pizza that you know about and you want to know about. And you're going to want to find out more about it, especially from the maestro, Hal Klein himself. But I think it's time to wrap things up. We're getting to that hour. Thank you so much for everybody. Be sure to get your punch key down at
Patrick's
the S&D Polish Deli. I'm gonna go jump on the bike here and just work off that punch key and a half right there, because my system is not used to that kind of a shock right there. If it was like, pierogies, I could eat like 50 pierogi. But not so much on those delicious, those sweet punch keys. Anyway, get on those. I'd like to try a savory one at some point as well. So we'll put that on the list for next year if we're still doing this. But thank you. Just be sure, take care of each other. Keep on wearing your masks. Keep your social distancing. Stay warm. It's gonna get better. It's getting better already. With the exception of, the fact that, that the Moderna vaccine, about 300,000 shots in Pennsylvania, they gave the second shot first. They gave the booster first to about 300,000 people so far. They just found out today. So look into that if you've gotten the shot. Find out if you were one of the...
That's what they get for using those IKEA shots.
Yes, I get it. So anyway... We're gonna wrap this thing up. Moolah Mark and Ron Chocolate are gonna be out of here. Dave, you're gonna eat a punch key for us, or are we gonna just have to
Dave
think
should
about
eat a punch key out, instead of the credits, it's just Dave shoving a punch key in his face.
I think that's fine. But anyway, again, I want to thank Doug Oster and Farm to Table for bringing him here, and the punch key talk. Thank you, Pete, for delivering those for us today to have our segment. Tomorrow, Hal Klein, Kate Romaine. And we'll see you then. Thank you all. Be safe. And remember, Sally Wiggin.
When I walk out and there's someone without a mask and they come too close to me, I'm just racked with fear, and then I want to punch them in the face.
Good night, everybody. I'm going to eat another punch key. Dave, are you going to eat one, or are you just going to look there in the dark?
He's not eating.
He's not going to eat one. All right. Thank you all for watching tonight. We're going to be back. Episode 149 is tomorrow. There'll be a round number on Fridays. So thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, there it is.
Real life 25.
I'd have gone rose hip. I'm going to change my vote to rose hip. Rosebud, rose hip.
Well, all right. What happened here?
We're still